if we could address you directly right now.
Everything comes full circle.
That's number one.
I don't tell him what questions to ask me.
There are a lot of people around town that have the same question.
Brush my teeth. I'm a good wash in the morning.
I can't confirm or deny.
You know, just keep going a little bit longer here, Mike. Keep going a little bit longer.
Fran Brown this, Fran Brown that.
If you want me to take a lie detector, Brian, I'll take it.
Portal watch this, Portal watch that.
The dog Mama Duke. People say I like that dog.
What are you talking about playing walk-on? Who do you think walked onto the team?
Anybody that thinks this is going to come back is either naive or plain stupid.
All across CNY.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
It's the 315.
Hardy faking, feeds the Grace Jameson. Got it!
He scores! Here's Brian Higgins.
Friday. Welcome in. The weekend awaits. The NFL draft set to continue. Big Lax game tomorrow. Lots going on. Here in the Cuse, Utica, Rome. What's up, Rome? How are we on this Friday? 315-437-7644. You guys know the digits. Join us throughout today. Get in the chat. Come hang out on a Friday. The last Friday of April. May approaches. The April showers better bring some May flowers because it is getting kind of gross out there for the weekend. A little moisture in the area this weekend, but all good stuff as we finally have some spring temperatures out there. Hopefully the same wherever you are on Q Sports Talk, QSportsTalk.com, and the YouTube and the Twitch. All over our sporting landscape. Portal watching today. Fran Brown saying stuff. NFL draft, the Giants did a thing. Do we like the thing? I don't know. I guess. The proof will once at some point be in the pudding, but it's not one you I know the Giants, you win the night, you get the pass rusher, you get the quarterback, you've won the night. They didn't play the games last night, so we'll see how that all comes together for the Giants in the future. Somebody may draft Shadur Sanders even tonight. Will there be any Syracuse players drafted tonight? We'll get back into the NFL draft throughout as well. Mario will be by later this hour. Sacco Six-Pack and more. Here, as per the usual on a Friday, we've got the man who sort of knows, some picks heading into your weekend. And whatever you'd like to discuss, as always, phone lines available to you at 315-437-7644. Looks chilly in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Winter coats and whatnot on the outdoor set in Titletown. Man, what a crowd they had there last night. That was packed out, absolutely electric when the Packers pick got announced. This moving the draft thing around and having hundreds of thousands of people there live in attendance, that's working out pretty well for the old NFL. I mean, it's working out so well last night. They had an announcement for their schedule announcement during the draft. They had an event that they've concocted that comes up with like 1 million people to go to it, in which they announce people's names and what team they'll be playing for, and then they told us that later they're going to tell us what the schedule is, which it's Sundays. God bless the NFL. Sundays, Monday nights, Thursday. You know what the schedule is. The NFL, they are absolute geniuses with this stuff. Last night, they took like 10 minutes out of the draft to tell us that later, in a few weeks, they're going to tell us what the schedule is, which I can already tell you what the schedule is. Oh, I love it. Yes, will I be watching the third round of the NFL draft tonight to see who the Giants pick at like 60-something and to see if Kyle McCord maybe gets drafted? Yeah, probably. Oh, the NFL, you've done it again. You've done it again. All right, let's get it going here today.
We start with a Burdick BMW opening drive.
Oh, the National Football League. They're geniuses. Like, none of this should be interesting. The draft shouldn't be interesting. The schedule release shouldn't be interesting. And yet, we will wait with bated breath on every possible syllable because, this is not even throwing shade. This is compliments. They've turned nothing into something. The games are something. They've taken the nothing and made it something. It's wild. It's impressive. Good for them. You know who takes stuff and makes it something? Fran Brown. That's who. That's who. Should we start today with a little portal watch? Little portal watch? I think we must. The football portal closes for entry in fewer now than 6 hours.
The portal is open.
Prepare ship for ludicrous speed.
Players on the move.
Scotty, beam us up fast.
Where are they going?
To infinity and beyond.
It's another edition of Portal Watch.
Ludicrous speed. Go!
All right, day 10, the final one of the football portal being open, but assuredly not the final day that we'll be discussing this spring football portal season. Fran's now hot and heavy in search for an offensive lineman or more than one, or a wide receiver or more than one. Will be very interesting to see how that all plays out this weekend and beyond. Visits scheduled now, the weekend, early next week. So that'll be something to keep tabs on here. What we'll be keeping tabs on for the rest of the day today, and what we have not actually seen anything out of yet, is will there be any further exits into the portal with now, what do we have? T minus 8 hours, less than 8 hours. It's 4:06. You got till midnight. 7 hours and 53 minutes to go to get your name in the portal if you're a Syracuse player or anybody else out there. And the main area we watch, especially with the already announced arrival this week of Steve Angeli, that becoming official now a little bit less than 48 hours ago, that the main player I have eyes on here when we look at the Syracuse QB room is Jakari Williams. Because patience is not the name of the game in college sports these days. You used to sit and wait and develop and work, and eventually, unless you were the rarest of rare talents, eventually earn your spot, especially at the quarterback position. But here we are. Ricky Collins, the anointed starter from 2 weeks ago, out currently with a hand injury, expected back June-ish to be getting back in the workout mix. Steve Angeli presumably didn't come here to sit around and do nothing. So what position are you in if you're Jakari Williams? You're a redshirt freshman with 4 years of eligibility remaining. You got 4 years left. Collins has 3 years left. Angeli has 2 years left, at least as of today. Eligibility has become a bit nebulous here of late and could get even wonkier down the line. But either way, you have, in theory, more eligibility than either of those two, which would either A, allow you the chance to wait and maybe play later, or B, I'll also allow you to read the writing on the wall and hit the bricks. Because what this addition of Angeli has done is it's pretty directly told us that, and Fran has told us, and he was on ACC PM yesterday, that he's not and was not ready to roll into the season with Jakari Williams as his number 2. The question is, will Jakari Williams be willing to sit around and wait for a year and be number 3? And does he think that now, knowing this, he's got no chance of playing here ever? And if that's the case, do you hop in the portal by midnight tonight and make that move now? Do you hang out for another season knowing you'd still have 3 left, make the move at the end of the season? I don't know. But you look at the QB room, Ricky Collins, Steve Angeli, Jakari Williams, and I'll add in the 2 true freshmen, Luke Carney and Rich Beelan. I think they still maybe have some random other dudes left kicking around, walk-on types or whatnot. That's great. But those 5 are the ones you look at. I think Carney and Beelan would stick it out for at least a year. I don't think Ricky Collins would run immediately for the portal. If it was like 100% shot that Angeli was the starter, then I think then maybe, yeah, he's the guy. But right now, the one guy that feels like he's getting actively squeezed by this is Williams. And, hey, there's nothing wrong with being the third-string quarterback. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with learning and getting better and being ready for later in your career where you legit have a chance to make a mark. I don't know where in the major part of college football world right now Jakari could go and be a starting quarterback this upcoming season. A lower level, I'm sure, but he's not going to land at any legitimate big-time school like he's at now and be able to play quarterback this year. So how do you view your future? So many don't have the long view anymore. So many immediately seek the exit, tuck tail, and run. And maybe that's the right decision. You don't stick around and fight for it. Though it's so easy to now be replaced over the top, as Jakari found out here this last week, with Jelly clearly ahead of him on the depth chart already, and Collins as well, that what do you do? I don't know what you do if you're in a position like that. Before, when you knew if you transferred, you had to sit down and wait. And I'm not advocating for going back to the old system. I think with all its inherent flaws in this system, I think it is better than, you want to transfer, do you? Well, you can sit out and you can play when you're old and gray. That was a bit draconian. This is better, but it also leads to hair-trigger decisions that I would imagine some have regrets on later on. I think this will be fascinating to watch here in the next 8 hours. What does a guy like that do? What does a guy like that do? Because if you leave, you got no guarantees of anywhere else. He's not going to be like an Angeli or a Collins that was highly in demand. He'd find a spot, I'm sure. But it's that type of player now that do you sit? Do you be the third guy? Do you, take advantage of youth and learn and soak it all up this year? And then if it becomes really apparent by the end of the year, then you're probably never starting here. Then you can portal. You'd still have 3 years of eligibility remaining. You go out in the good graces of everybody? Or now do you say, you're going to bring in another quarterback? Well, yeah, maybe go find another one on top because peace, I'm out. I feel the latter tact is what many, many would do in the portal era. Oh, yeah? Bye. Will be fascinating to watch. Will be fascinating to watch to see how it's all going to go down in the next 8 hours. And then that's just the quarterback situation. I don't know if anybody else will be fast out the door at this late in the day. Potentially. I think we've seen a lot of that already with the certainly list of reserve offensive linemen that have headed out and the volume of large humans that have been or will be on campus here over the course of the next week or so. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. But the quarterback thing is the one that really stands out. Here's a little bit of Fran on the QB situation from ACC. A PM going on simultaneously with our show yesterday. Oh, that's me coming back through the speaker. So we're going to need we don't need two me's. One me is enough me. We're going to hit the mute on one me. And now we're going to play the one Fran Brown.
I thought Ricky did a really good job of taking that step and becoming solidified that number one spot. And then, just after watching and going through everything, I said, we need someone else, right? I think that Jakari and those kids, they got a bright future ahead of them. But just right now, I wasn't comfortable enough if we had to play a game and someone went down for them to come in and be the guy. So we added the competition back, right, and was able to go and get Steve to come.
And he'll compete with Ricky Collins, who Fran tells us is super psyched about that.
Ricky was actually happy. He understands what it's going to do for him. And just for our team to take us to the next step. It's competition all across, right? No one's safe. There's competition all across the board, and we're really excited about being able to compete. It makes practices really fun.
We'll see how happy Ricky Collins is if he's not the starting quarterback at some point. Because, man, I'd say that would not really be the opinion of many of these. Oh, you're bringing in a guy that might replace me? Yeah, coach, I love it. That's great. Thanks. I'm sure that will be the best of friends. What a wonderful time. Yes, we love it. We love it. Yeah. Fran, though, man, it is amazing because he's always been open, but now he's, a year and a quarter, a year and a third into it. He'll just put it all out there. This is a guy that looks at the portal and is just like, oh, yeah, portal? Yeah, well, I'm Fran.
At the end of this portal, I think that we'll be better than we were when it started. So, for me, it's competitive, right? You wanted to leave and go there, man, I'm going to go replace you with somebody better. And I hope that you go there and do extremely well, but that's my job, right? So when you go, it's like, dang, you challenged and didn't think we were going to be good enough. Unless it was about money, then all right, cool. You got to go get the bread you need to get to take care of your people. But when you challenge and don't think we're going to be straight, or you don't want to compete, then like, Brett, I'm going to just go get somebody that wants to come and be a part of what it is that we're doing.
I'd say part of that is he talked about Murad Watson in a separate interview on the Jim Rome show earlier this week, where like Murad came to him. It sort of sounded similar to the Trevor Pena, but again, this is the way Fran describes it. Murad came to him. He's like, I'm here and I can get this out there. And Fran's like, oh, well, this is Fran's description of what happened. Well, then you should go do that. That's good. We don't have that. Go get that. And obviously, Texas has that kind of bread sitting around, and I think Murad Watson is going to do all right for himself. But the main quote, and I said yesterday, oh man, we got to find this. Yesterday we just had the text, the words, but I kind of wanted to, I kind of wanted to hear it because it's always better with a little actual context, right? A little hearing the guy say the words, and when Fran says words, they often have a way of being entertaining, for sure. But here is what did I do to this audio? It's like vanished in front of my face. I'm clicking. There we go. I clicked the wrong button. We're having a very bad mouse session here to start the show. Here's Fran. What Fran said on Zeed Haynes' departure yesterday, ACC PM with Mark Packer.
I had somebody who wasn't even on the team no more that was done, said he didn't want to play. Then he went in the portal. Right, so it's like everybody going in the portal, right? It's great. I might go. I'm thinking about hitting the portal tomorrow. I've seen some of the numbers they're getting. I might mess with John Wildhack and call him up in a couple minutes and tell him, "Yo, John, I'm about to go in the portal real fast, just see if he do something different for me." I don't know.
Yeah, that feels like another one of these things where that Fran's making light. There's some story under there. There's always a story under there with Fran. Fran's very good at. Fran's very good at using the quick little shots and the humor to just slide in what he's really trying to get out there. A little Fran Brown from ACC PM yesterday. Man, has there been a more entertaining college football coach in America in the last month than Fran Brown? Has there been a guy who's been out there more just letting it fly than Fran Brown? I dare say Fran's even been out there more than that Coach Prime guy. I mean, part of it is he sort of got tied to Prime with the spring practice thing, but man, Fran is out there letting you know. Quarterbacks coming here, big-time O-line recruits on campus this weekend, looking to solidify that offensive line in the portal. And everyone's loving Fran right now. Everyone is loving Fran right now. On top of if anything happens in the portal this evening for Orange quarterbacks, what will be really fascinating this fall is, we know the schedule is really hard. Fran unaware that the schedule is very hard.
Yeah, honestly, this is the first time I'm looking at the whole schedule since you got it up here. I know we played Tennessee first because everyone talks about that, but
a mystery.
Yeah, we'll get to the schedule when we get to the schedule. We focused on the portal right now and finishing up our mini-master, our
Miami
classes to get ready for Maymester and stuff like that.
SMU? Clemson? They're all what? I had no idea. We all know how tough the schedule is, or in theory how tough the schedule is this year. Like the odds of winning 10 games this year are, not so fast. I think you win 7 and have a spectacular year based on the schedule and, youth and completely new roster and a lot of stuff. Like you could be equally impressive in as many ways with fewer wins this year. But, everyone loves Fran now, but we all know how it is. Lose a few games early. And we'll see how the nature of the relationship goes. But he has been the man of the hour in college football here in the last month or so. All right, let's hit a break as we wrap up our Burdick BMW opening drive. Your calls as we roll along here, 315-437-7644. NFL Draft Talk and more down the line on this Friday. 2 Orange basketball targets now officially off the table. And Mario will be by. 6-pack coming up in a little bit more than 10 minutes. All that as we zoom along on a Friday at Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. Oh, chatty chat. What is up on this Friday, chat? Yeah, friends, like, I need competition. I have hired Steve Spurrier, and the winner will be head coach. I have to love what the Giants. I mean, I like Carter. I like that they were decisive in their move for a quarterback. I still don't know what to think about Jackson Dart. The problem is the quarterbacks in this year's draft after Cam Ward were not going to be exciting regardless. So I hope it works. Sport boy, I hope it works. But if they had traded up for Shadur, Dart, Milroe, Shook, whatever, I probably would have had the same reaction. Like, well, hopefully. Hopefully so, Kev. I mean, I root for him. I root for him. I hope he's the guy. Where's the YouTube chat? Why is this? What is up, YouTube? Yeah, sign in. I would like to sign in with the YouTube to see the chat. Yes, thank you. Rashawn A.G. from USC, a forward, is in the portal. Okay, San Diego Cuse, you are our portal maestro. Ray Sean A.G. Is that a compliment or not, Phil? Bryce Young was playing well by the end of last season. New Mexico State, Bowling Green, USC. All right, this guy's something. She's in the portal because just everyone's in the portal now, Ryan. She's like all the guys on the men's team with no eligibility left, just lobbing their name in just in case somehow they all get another year. Rayshawn Agee, followed by Alex Klein. Potentially Oregon Cuse, like, yes, I mean, they got a rotation. Like, if all the guys perform, they got a rotation. Like, if you tell me Donnie's going to be what we all hoped he could be and becomes the best player on the team, and JJ can be a little more efficient and can be the second best, and both freshmen contribute, and Nate George is a good point guard, and Kings is a three-point shooter, and the other guys are kind of, bouncy defenders that they haven't had in a minute, it's got a chance. It's got a chance. I don't know. Is the real situation. All right, rolling along here on this Friday. Yes. The weekend is fast approaching here. Phone lines are open, of course. 315-437-7644. We'll get some draft talk down the line. My Giants have a quarterback. We'll see what happens with all that. We'll see what happens with all that going forward. Jackson Dart, they got a pass rusher too. But as mentioned, phone lines open, 315-437-7644. Let's hit the phones and bring on our guy, Scooter. What's up, Scoot?
Well, you have to go back about players that don't get drafted that it looks like the analysts are all like upset because they were wrong and all those people were right about Sanders. And it was funny. By the way, I thought the craziest thing, what happened to Mel Kiper's hair? He didn't look like he had his hair like, ones that don't move in the windstorm.
Yeah, it was not as eloquently slicked black as the years gone by.
No, I thought that was the big story of the draft, personally. But, I mentioned this way back, and I guess you can bet this stuff. I was over at Yellow Brick cashing tickets. By the way, I'm sure the man who knows if this was a Friday game, the lock last night was the Clippers over the Nuggets. Nuggets have checked out, and I'm kind of rooting against them anyway. Since you fire a coach to win a national championship 2 years ago, and you're firing a guy, I don't know what more you got to do. And they look like they checked out, and I thought that was a lock on Thursday's card. But somebody was talking, we're talking, and there's things in Vegas where you can bet certain players what the odds are where they're going to go. And
oh yeah, not in New York, Scooter, but you can in some states. Yes,
absolutely. That's why you can't bet anything. You can't bet the MVPs of leagues or anything.
Yeah.
You can bet individuals if they're competing, like golf or NASCAR.
Yeah, but anything that's like a human decision or something, you're not allowed to bet in New York, or however they phrase the law.
So we're talking about it, and somebody had connections, and they bet Sanders not getting drafted in the first round. But I don't see Brian. I mean, what I've seen him, and I've seen him unfortunately more than I wanted to, as far as the late games and stuff. But he didn't impress me as a first round pick. To me, he threw a lot of short passes.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of remind me of the 1983 draft, and thank God being a Dolphins fan. But he had a guy named Tony Easton that played for Illinois, and he had great yardage, 375 passing. But if you watch the games, he threw it 6-7 yards downfield, and then the receiver run 80. You get credit for it. Where you had a Dan Marino, whose accuracy wasn't that great, but when he threw the ball, he threw the ball 40 yards downfield.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the guy dropped it, the ball went 40 yards. And that's why you mentioned it before. McCord, was it you or was it the Orange Nation was talking about how he led the league, he led the nation in throwing passes downfield over 20 yards.
Yeah, he had. I think it might have been Pro Football Focus. It was one of those things that he had the best numbers on deep passes like that in the country this year. He also had one of the highest potential amount of turnover-worthy plays or something this year. But he was trying to stick the ball in there, and it certainly worked out for the Orange this year.
Well, if you throw it 20, 30 yards downfield, you're going to have more of a shot instead of just dumping it. Just dumping it. And a lot of, and when I see 65%, I was like the infamous East-West where you throw the screens to the wide receivers, or you're kind of just getting out in the flat. But I his size. I mean, Murray came out, and he was actually I think a shortstop when he came out.
Right.
So he had an arm, and his legs were just as important as his arm. And and the ironic part is when he got into real good games. I'll still the year that the Rams won the Super Bowl. That's when they had those crazy playoff games where they actually had a Monday night game and they were playing at the Rams. But the Rams won their division, and Arizona was the wild card, so they played at the Rams, and Arizona was a favorite, and Murray was totally confused. The Rams confused them. And if you watch a lot of big games with Murray, if you kept him in the pocket, his size probably hurt, but basically, and that's what I thought with Sanders. When you saw him good, of course, you got a guy named Travis Hunter, and you probably heard about him.
Yeah, that guy helped a little bit.
Yeah, helped him a little bit. So I just saw it. I didn't see him, going in the first round. And you got these analysts. I think it was Riddick or somebody just ripping.
Oh, Mel was not happy. Mel was a big Shedeur guy. He thought Shedeur had gone to the Saints at 9, and then was just displeased about it for the rest of the night.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They took it personally. And, like I said, I mentioned after the Brigham Young game, he looked totally confused. And you look at his stats at halftime, I don't know if he ended up padding his stats at the end, but he had everybody. Hunter was there. Everybody was there inside Dome Stadium. And Brigham Young's not known for their defense. He confused them. So we'll see. But to me, it was just watching it, just laughing to hear it today. All the shows, it leaves with Sanders, I feel sorry for for Cam Ward? He's the number one pick. Has anybody mentioned him too much?
Yeah, not much. I mean, just watching when the Giants traded up and took Jackson Dart, I don't know how much I learned about. I didn't learn about Dart. Like, I just kept hearing about Shadur. I'm like, well, what about the guy they picked? I'd like to know anything about him right now. And, my worries about him are completely different. Like, he looks the part. He's got a cannon, but, he did not play up in his biggest games. And you look at a Lane Kiffin offensive system. But no offense on Lane. This is exactly what he should be doing at the college level, but he makes it nice and easy for his quarterbacks to go out there and have success and just fling it all over the lot. So, I don't know what to think other than Dayball clearly liked him, so hopefully it works out for the Giants. But the worry there is between him or Shadur or Milroe or something that there may not have been a correct choice this year trying to get one of those guys.
Well, the other thing I felt bad for Cam Ward, it's breaking news, the trade, and number two. It's like, oh, he's coming up to the podium, but they're more interested about the Jacksonville trade. For for being the number one pick, he kind of lost it. By the way, for anybody that's now going to start following the Derby, FanDuel, the Churchill starts tomorrow. They have a night thing at 5 o'clock, but the drawing is tomorrow after the third race.
Okay.
So we'll know where the 315 horse is going to be post position, probably around 6:30 tomorrow. And they also have breakfast at Churchill on FanDuel starting at 7:30 in the morning, where they show the workouts and start talking to the trainers. So you get some back information. But all things are go, and I think your 315 horse, any type of racing luck, he's built for the distance. He's out of curling, and we'll see what happens. But we'll know more after Saturday, after the drawing. And thank God, I hope he stays away from the top 3 or 4 post positions inside, because that's difficult to win.
All right, we'll keep journalism off the rail if we can. Thank you, Scooter.
Thanks, Brian.
There he is, our guy Scooter. All right, let's today a break. We'll talk to Mario next. Six Pack and more after this on a Friday. It's Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. I hit the button, but it no play the commercial. I wouldn't say that, Oregon Q's. I'd say there's a possibility, depending of how it goes, how it could buy them another year if they don't have a great year. But if they stink out loud again, like, you got to show a little something this year. You're shooting out Scooter at the brick, Poppy? That's funny. But when was it? Wednesday when we had Jordan Renana on, you're like, well, if you have this guy and you don't play him all year, like, can you buy another year out of somehow selling we just got to work with this guy one more year and we'll okay. Maybe. Is that where he ended up? Rob Cuse, he was highly ranked in the portal. Didn't really see what went wrong with his Houston experience this year. He's from Florida also. Yeah, that's just like we're on a wing and a prayer with a lot of these guys. I've never seen Kings play. I've never seen William Kyle play. I realize I've seen Georgia Tech play, but I never really noticed Soiree. I've seen George play at least a little bit. I always thought Wilson had a chance to be a good player. He was, does it cause concern that I haven't seen them play, Alex? I'm not concerned that I haven't seen them play. I just, it's a lot harder to have an educated opinion on if they're good or not by not having seen them play. I would like just a large guy to be on the team. Just for, break glass in case of emergency. Here's just a big dude. Whoever noticed or heard of them? Alex Clyde. Like, we played Georgia Tech really early in the season before Soiree really started getting minutes. Like, he played from the stats pretty well down the stretch. Oh, my. Crunch taunting in the YouTube chat. Yeah, I can't say I was watching Oregon State play West Coast Conference basketball last season. Kings' release, I mean, he shot 44%, but I'm only just going on the brief highlights and the stats on him. But, I mean, like, what's the goal? That he's the fourth, fifth best player on the team?
315. Here's Brian Higgins.
All right, rolling along on this Friday. We'll reopen the phones rest of the way in a little bit. Let's bring in our guy Mario and get a little six-pack in our lives here. There's Mario, there's currently somebody in our YouTube chat, a Rochester Amerks fan, that is taunting the Crunch. So we're in full playoff mode right now, I guess. Are you ready for Calder Cup playoff action tonight?
I will be tuned in and ready to go. Remind that guy who won Game 5 last year in Rochester.
Okay. So, take that, Chris Rise 021. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Rochester's very good this year. It's going to be a heck of a task for the Crunch to win this series, especially with the guys that the Sabres sent back down at the end of the year. They have a very skillful team that can score, so Brandon Halverson is going to have to be very good in this series. If the Crunch want to pull one out. If the Crunch win, I don't expect them to be, 5-4 type games. Syracuse is going to be winning 2-1 type hockey games in this series, I think.
That stat that was out there last week, what is it now? It's like 8 straight years that the Crunch and the Lightning have both been in the playoffs or something like that?
Yeah, like 7 straight years both teams have been in the playoffs. Now, I'll remind you, there was 2 years in the AHL that there was no playoffs, so... that just tells you the depth of the Lightning organization. What's even more impressive is, I was looking at Rochester stats, this is the 50th time they've been in the postseason in the AHL. Crunch's 31st appearance, but they've had a great success, and you see it. Tampa Bay's down 2-0 in their series with Florida because Florida's very good. But just looking at that lineup last night, it was he played in Syracuse. He played in Syracuse from Connor Geekie to Yanni Gore to Anthony Cirelli. You can go down the line. That guys that have played here and now, are playing in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yeah, it's wild, the consistency at both levels, because, just the natural tendency is it accordions a little bit, right? You're maybe good at the lower level, those guys graduate, and then it's really hard. I mean, full credit to the Lightning organization, right? It's really hard to keep the big boy organization and your AHL affiliate stacked at the same time.
When you look at that, and over the years that have had success at both levels, you look at Hershey, and Hershey's been dominant in the AHL over the last 2 years, winning back-to-back Calder Cup championships. Hershey's had success. Capitals are having success this year, have had success. it's how you develop the players in draft. And time again, if you're not drafting well, and prime example, the Sabres, like, haven't made the playoffs in forever and, haven't been, very good. Like, if you're drafting well and developing these players, these teams are going to be good. And you look at Tampa and the crunch. I look at, in the past, Grand Rapids with the Red Wings and the success that they had. Wilkes-Barre and the Penguins, and Wilkes-Barre has had success in the past. So, it's there. It's just how you develop your players, and it starts with being able to draft well and going from there.
I go back just way further with my AHL. It's like the mid '90s Albany River Rats and the New Jersey Devils both were. Yeah, there
you go.
Yeah,
I go back to the ECHL days in Johnstown, like the Johnstown Chiefs. Like, I remember going to I played in that dump of an arena that Slapshots was filmed in.
There we go. Yeah, I always think like back in the mid '90s, like right when the Devils got good, and they've got Martin Brodeur. They had like two of the best goalies in the AHL, Mike Dunham and Corey Schwab. They couldn't get a sniff because there's a Hall of Famer in front of you. So yeah, good luck.
And it was funny that Brodeur's son comes through the Comets/Devils organization now,
right?
That you look at. But yeah, going back to the Johnstown arena, I was a 10-year-old kid, and I'm 5'7" now, so imagine how small I was. To get onto the ice is about a drop of about a foot. So, not the easiest of things to do, and their boards were always super high. So I wasn't climbing over any boards. I needed a parent to open the door for me to get off the ice.
It's a good way to get more ice time. I couldn't get off.
Coach, I couldn't get off. I'm going to stay on for 30 more seconds.
I'm taking a double shift. I literally cannot get off the ice right now.
The greatest story about playing there, like growing up in that area, one of the Hanson brothers every year used to put on a speed skating clinic at the War Memorial there in Johnstown. So it was pretty cool that he had all this slap shot stuff and around the arena. Believe it or not, he was actually a pretty good skater besides in that movie where he was a goon.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, even to skate like a goon in a movie, you got to be able to get around a little bit, I think. We got Mario with us here on a Friday. So that series starts tonight. It's a 7:05 puck drop out in Rochester.
How much you want to bet they don't drop the puck at 7:05? I love when they list those.
Yeah, exactly.
Those times.
It won't be, but it does mean that Lucas will be starting his pregame coverage. Countdown to crunch time at 6:50. That's and then when the puck actually drops, that's Lucas's problem. He'll figure that out later tonight. We'll have Tim in here for Yankees on Deck, leading into that starting at 6. All right, so let's hit a little Q's football here. What did you make of the Steve Angeli news, and how do you think this affects the Q's roster here going forward?
Well, just hearing Fran about him wanting to add another quarterback, that to me signals like, hey, we still want to have a competition. Like we still want Ricky to be pushed. Do I think, coming into camp, Ricky is the guy that's going to receive the most snaps at number one? Yes. But Angeli, I don't think is coming here just to say, hey, the job's yours, Ricky, and I'm going to sit back, because he could have more than likely been doing that at Notre Dame or somewhere else if he wanted to. I think it's a great addition, and it's two different skill sets that they bring to the table. In the limited time that you could watch tape on Angeli, because he appeared in 11 games, mostly in mop-up duty, but the series that he got in against Penn State, it was like, okay, I belong out here. And some of the throws that he made, you tell the guy has talent, and the knowledge is there, even if it be with Nunzio, his brother, sure they ran the same system, so he knows what he's getting out of them. So to me, it was a no-brainer. If you can go get a guy and may the best man win, and will one of them probably not like it? Yeah, but that's today's day and age of college football. Like, your job's to win football games, and your job's not to be, the best friend with a guy. At the end of the day, you're the head coach, and you want to be friends with everyone on the team, but you're going to make someone mad come down the line, but your job's to win, and Fran knows that. Yeah,
this is not like Kyle McCord's dad worked with Fran Brown's wife level of like random connections, but
isn't it still weird to you?
Like brother, the whole thing here. It's amazing how many connections these guys get.
Yeah, especially in the Northeast, it's like the 6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon, right?
Yeah. No, you can 6-degree Fran Brown. Like, if there's a football player in New Jersey and you can't 6-degree Fran Brown on it, then I don't believe it. Like, we're going to hear some story from Fran. Like, I was at Steve Angeli's, fourth grade Pee Wee games, and really liked his delivery back then.
Yeah, it's wild. So, but like I said, it goes more to, they talk about fitting the team to, the quarterback, and you got kind of two different styles. So how are you going to fit? I mean, that's up to Jeff Nixon. How do you fit the more, passing style offense that he runs? Do you think that's Angeli or do you think that's Ricky Collins? Like, Ricky Collins does have a strong arm. And we go from there. So, and I don't think obviously the portal was done, because you keep seeing names pop up left and right. I think he's trying to snag a wide receiver or two. Would be another great sign for Syracuse. And
it seems like he's got an entire offensive line visiting here over the week. I just find it fascinating. Like, Fran doesn't like the early portal, early signing day, late signing day, spring portal. Like, he's never not trying to improve the roster, at least just a little bit.
No, and credit to player development staff at Syracuse. Like, guy hits the portal, and what do you hear? Like, he's offered by, Syracuse is interested in this guy. And it's not just like, a two-star coming from, I understand they got the linebacker from South Dakota. I get that. But, these guys are playing at Florida State, the Texases, and that has to excite you.
Yeah, and heck, even the South Dakota guy, I mean, he's a 100-tackle guy on one of the best FBS teams out there. So, like, if anyone's going to be able to play up from that level, you'd think it would be a guy like that. All right, Mario, Lax tomorrow in the Dome. Oh, man, I don't want to say it's a must-win game, but in many ways, like you want a home playoff game or guarantee you're in the playoff, like, you got to go win this game tomorrow.
I don't even think it's looking at the home playoff. Like, your NCAA tournament, you lose this game and then you would lose in the ACC tournament. Like, you're sweating it out come Selection Sunday. Like, a win tomorrow, to me, I would think would put them in the committee rankings come out tomorrow at some point in time, I would think. At least that's what they did last Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're doing it again this week or not, but yeah, that's what they did last week.
But Syracuse was 10th in those first rankings, so yeah, that's right on the cusp, and you're only, you're not getting 24 or whatever, 25 teams like the women's side. So, win the game and win the ACC regular season title, and you kind of go to the NCAA and say, we're the ACC regular season champs minus the tournament or not. Like, that has to say something about the caliber of play that we have this season. So a huge game, and one that these guys, 2-game losing streak. They've lost 2 games earlier in the year, back-to-back to Harvard and Maryland. So, get back on track, and it starts with, as Gary says, shooting. Like, SU can't go scoreless in a first and third quarter tomorrow and expect to win a game. And, that defense is going to be fired up because the guy coaching them is Dave Petramala, who the relationship with SU and Dave goes back just a couple of years.
Yeah, he and Pat March have gone head-to-head in more than a few practices during the 2 years that they spent together.
Pat can coach this year against them.
Yeah, yes, that's true. That was the game he got suspended. What did Gary was on the show Wednesday? I forget how he phrased it. He's like, yeah, Pat was on he was on a short vacation for that game last year.
I had to coach it.
So. Yeah. Gary's like, I had to run the offense last year, so hopefully it'll go a little better.
He's going to throw in ranks, but like SU has to score, and North Carolina's got a great face-off guy, so possessions could be at a premium tomorrow.
Yes, and obviously Mullen's been doing great for Syracuse, but it's huge this time of year. For sure. I will say this, though. The fact that the game's in the Dome, it just feels like because of that, Syracuse is going to play well tomorrow, just because that's what they've done at home this year for the most part.
We couldn't have scheduled the game at 5 o'clock tomorrow. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it's got to be a TV situation. I've not examined the full TV slate tomorrow.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at North Carolina, they're 9-3 this season. Those 3 losses, the only technical blowout loss that you look at is to Notre Dame last week. But when you look at that game, that was a game of tail halves. Like, Notre Dame shut them down defensively, and then, the second half, Notre Dame went off. But, their other losses are to Princeton, who's a top 10 team, and Army, who's a top 5 team. 13-12 and 14-12. So it'll be, to me, Syracuse needs to win the game tomorrow by they score 13 goals, they win. They can't score 7 and 8 goals that we've seen in these last, couple of times that they've lost. And, being able to shut down Petromola's kid, like, he's got 37 goals on the year. You know what he's going to do when he gets the ball in his hands. He's going to rip it. So trying to shut him down, and it's kind of cool to see the Beeville kid and Spencer Wertheim come back. He's been a big part of that offensive unit as well. 19 points on the year as he closes out his collegiate career.
All right, so the game's at 5 on ACC Network tomorrow, or you can just go to the game. Virginia. Well, here's the problem for now. I'm just alerting people for their TV channel changing tomorrow. There's a noon college baseball game. BC's playing somebody, I guess, at noon tomorrow on ACC Network. At 3, it's Virginia Duke, right, tomorrow. That's at 3. And then the Orange game is scheduled to start at 5. So just make sure you got the ESPN app ready. That's where you're going to be watching the. Yeah,
we will be on. Yeah,
but maybe second quarter. Maybe second quarter you'll have a shot of getting it.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Why do we do this every week?
It's not the length of games. That's just not. And then apologies to whatever. Let's see. There's a Georgia Tech softball game at 7. So Georgia Tech softball fans, you're going to need to do the same thing at 7 o'clock.
How much smack talk do you think Ty and Sam English have had this week against one another?
Oh yeah, that's got to be good, right? Like that's got to be good. It goes one of two ways, right? Either because I know I've interviewed various brothers that have played each other in the past. Either you completely shut them off for the week, or you just go hard. You just go hard at them all week long.
Maybe they shut them off all week, and then when Sam pops one in or lays it to Ty one time at the midfield, then maybe he starts the trash talking.
Yeah, if they get in a fight, like refs, these are brothers. This can't be. They're just brothers. Yeah. It's cool. It's cool.
Mom's yelling from the sideline.
Yeah, get to your room. That's not how this one works, Mom. All right, are we ready for a 6-pack? A 2-4 week here, I think.
Last week?
Yeah, you were 2-2, and then the hockey games got you. That spilled over into the week. It looks like.
Yeah, I got him in here again. Could be bad, could be good.
Let's see how it goes.
It's time for Mario to make you money.
Your money? You know what else? You're a big winner.
Or maybe not.
And it's gone. Money!
Here's the Sacco 6-pack.
You're still net positive here in 2025, so that's good.
Okay. I feel like I haven't had a positive week in about a month and a half.
Yeah, well, so, you had a good January. It's fading, but it was a very nice January.
All right, let's go, men's lacrosse. I got 2 games tonight, 2 games tomorrow. Georgetown Novas tonight. Give me Georgetown -2.5 in that one. Some Big Ten lacrosse. I don't know what to make of Hopkins. They've been god-awful.
Not a clue.
They have not been very good over this last month. They're on the road at Penn State. I'm still going to take them. They're getting 3.5. Can you stay within 3.5? Maybe, hopefully. So Georgetown -2.5, Hopkins +3.5. Tomorrow, more Big Ten action. Give me Michigan -2 at or home to Rutgers. They are, and give me Utah at Air Force. Utah -1.5 in that one. And then your NHL games. I like the Capitals all postseason. I picked them on the goal line. They won the game, but they did not cover.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take them on the money line this time, as they are in Montreal -118 there. I'm hoping they sweep the series. The Kings have absolutely lit up the Oilers. If I was smart, I'd take the over-under on the goals. I'm not. I'm going to take the Oilers, hopefully, to get back into the series at home on the money line.
All right, yeah. They've given up 12 goals in the first 2 games?
Yeah,
some of the series?
easily 12 goals.
Yeah, that's,
Connor McDavid can't get swept. There's something in the NHL contract that he can't get swept. So, steal one and go from there.
All right, there we go. All right, man. Thanks as always. Enjoy the weekend.
See you, Brian.
There he is, our guy Mario Sacco with the 6-pack. Let's take a break in this hour, brought to you by William Matar, 444-4444, and to get in touch with them. Get in touch with us is 301-543-7644. Phone lines open the rest of the way on this Friday. It's Q Sports Talk at ESPN Radio.
Hey, this is former.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Did you get the Marsala, Kev? That sounded good. That sounded good. Good deal, too, right? Hey, look, it's a host of Yankees on Deck, Tim Leonard. Yeah. It's, I don't know. What? Maybe. Yeah, no, that's a quick. There's a few less, a little bit less than Metallica had in last week for that guy. Well, do you want to have an opinion on Tronic? I'm tired of the whole thing already. That's what I think about that. My opinion on the whole thing is well known. The adults in the room should have had an adults meeting like 5 years ago. The fact that this is still a thing is ridiculous. Yeah, you get the pasta, the Marsala, and the nuts. Yeah, that's a great deal. Do we need to ban this Brett Thatchett guy? Yeah. As I called them, whatever that was that I lost my mind on it during hoop season, they're all acting like big babies. Stop it. Billionaires and millionaires acting like big babies. People in big important positions at the university acting like big babies. Oh, I will censor you, Mr. Thatchett.
CNY. It's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
All right, phone lines open, 315-437-7644, whatever's on your mind on this Friday. Still to come, some basketball portal news that did not go Syracuse's way. Are they done adding anything resembling impact players? I'm starting to presume the answer is yes, but we'll get into that later on. NFL draft as well. Lax game coming up on Saturday. But it's Friday. And on Friday, whether they win or not, we don't care. We give you picks.
Could we have the money now?
I'm telling you, it's a lock.
What if there was a restaurant that didn't serve any food and just served up gambling?
Father was a mother. His mother was a mother.
I thought gambling was illegal.
Not if no one sees you do it.
Guaranteed bets.
The man is a gambler.
Results not guaranteed.
Pay that man his money.
It's the man who sort of knows.
All right, here's what the man that sort of knows thinks he knows this week. 2-3 last week. He's going mainly NBA, then left turns at a high rate of speed on Sunday afternoon. We start in the association in the playoffs tonight, and we start in Milwaukee. Bucks and Pacers, Game 3. Games 1 and 2 have not gone well for the Bucks. Giannis is playing great. Everyone else stinks, is the story of the Milwaukee Bucks in the playoffs right now. You know who stunk the most for the Bucks? Kyle Kuzma. Shutout in Game 1, just 12 points in Game 2. He's kind of been a bust ever since that trade with Chris Middleton midway through the season. But the man who sort of knows, at least for one night only, is getting on board with Kuzma. He says, take the over 10.5 points tonight. Kuzma versus the Pacers. He's been getting the volume in shots. Back at home, a few more go in. Hits his over in points tonight. 2 picks for the man who sort of knows from Celtics Magic Game 3 this evening in Orlando. The total in Game 3 is a scant 198 points. That's below 200 points. That, in the modern NBA, is not a lot of points. Over the course of the last 5 years, playoff games with totals under 200 points have gone over their total 75% of the time, including the most recent game in this very series in Game 2 that was played without Jason Tatum. Expecting Tatum to remain out tonight, but getting to 200 shouldn't be a huge issue. Take Celtics and Magic over their total in Game 3 tonight. And the man that sort of knows says that, yeah, no Jason Tatum, no problem. The Celtics remain 4.5-point favorites on the road in Orlando tonight. The Magic are 2-8-1 against the spread as home dogs this year. When they're at home and they're expected to lose, they do, and they generally get handled. Celtics without Tatum cover the 4.5 tonight to take a 3-0 lead in the series. Tomorrow in the NBA, Heat and the Cavs. Cavs controlling the series up 2-0. Heat return to Miami, and all they got going for them is Bam Adebayo right now, and everything's running through him in the post. He had 9 assists in Game 2. They're down 0-2 at home. They may need to get him the ball even more, and he may need to get the ball to other people even more. Take Adebayo over 3.5 assists versus the Cavs tomorrow. Sunday, NASCAR, we head down to Alabama and Talladega, the super speedway. We're looking at Corey LaJoie. The man that sort of knows was on Corey LaJoie in Daytona. Had him for top 10, had him for top 5, had a little sprinkle on him to win. He was running second into the last lap, and the big one wiped him out within just yards of the finish line. But you get late in races at super speedways. This guy who never factors in anywhere, he is always running up front late in super speedway events. He can draft. Take him at Talladega, top 10 plus 430 on FanDuel right now. Corey LaJoie knows how to find his way to the front at super speedways, and that is where they are in NASCAR this weekend. To recap, NBA tonight, Kyle Kuzma over 10.5 points. Celtics Magic over 198 points, and Celtics covering 4.5 in Orlando this evening. Tomorrow, Bam Adebayo over 3.5 assists. Sunday, Corey LaJoie to finish top 10 in NASCAR at Dega. And that is what the man that sort of knows thinks he knows this week. What I definitely know is it's time to take a break, because hour 2 is next. Phone lines open rest of the way. 315-437-7644. We're back next here on Q Sports Talk at ESPN Radio. Yeah, you got to keep a tight handle on the ESM portal, Supercap. So far, we've been very competitive in our NIL offers. Like, you slip in an extra juice box and you will keep them. Cybertrucks are a very peculiar vehicle. I don't get it. I don't get it. Weed, San Diego Q's? I feel dandelions appeared in my neighbor's yard overnight. No, we're keeping them away from the portal, Supercat. We're competitive in the NIL. We're working the snack game hard. We're making no promises about playing time. I just think it looks stupid, puppy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you want a little extra fruit snack? You stay in the district? You want a little extra fruit snack? We may be able to hook you up with a NIL for a little extra fruit snack. Does it? Well, that's good, I suppose. Yeah, my only problem with it is it just looks stupid. Like, what the heck is the point of it? Mm-hmm. Yes, I've invested no time in learning anything about how it operates or its charge or its mileage or anything like that. I just like, that looks dumb.
Here, Si, let's look at this thing from a standpoint of status.
Can't go backwards. Can't go forward. What am I gonna do?
Hey, what happened? Lisa, if you don't like your job, you don't strike. You just go in every day and do it really half-assed. That's the American way.
I hope it's happy hour.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
This is a great day. A really great day.
All across CNY, it's the 315 with Brian Higgins. Halfway home, we drive into the second hour with Burdick BMW.
And that we do. Hour 2 is in our face here. 315-437-7644 if you'd like to join in here. for hour 2. I'd love to have you pop in. Lots still to get to. The NFL draft. The patrons are refilling the area behind the College game day sets in Green Bay. Man, there were a lot of people there last night. What a pop, though. Wideout Matthew Golden got going 20-something overall to the Packers. That was an electric draft moment. That was wild. Giants coming back in to take the quarterback, getting Jackson Dart. Nobody coming back in for Shadur Sanders. All the storylines as we head toward day 2 of the NFL draft. And the most important storyline of all, will any Syracuse players get picked today? Couple borderlines. Aronde, maybe. McCord, maybe. It's, there's a lot of round 3, round 4, round 5 there into 6 when you're looking at Fadil, LeQuint, McCord, and Getson. So we'll see how that all goes late tonight. If you missed Aronde on Orange Nation earlier today, check it out on the Q Sports Talk YouTube page. Cool to hear from him on the day or the eve of when he will officially become an NFL player. So he's busy working out, getting big, getting ready to play that tight end in the National Football League. All right, we'll get a little more draft in here in a second. But a basketball portal. So 2 of the guys that we've been watching, Jerry Deng and Jarrett Valencia. Deng, there was the following back, the Instagramming, the whole thing. He's from Rochester. He loves Carmelo. Florida State, 6'9", can shoot the 3. Oh, it seemed like a match made in heaven. Well, today he announced that he will be playing against Syracuse next season. I don't know if that was the specific announcement, but he's going to NC State. That's where Jerry Deng ended up, headed to NC State. The other guy that, just because anybody that we've said out loud that's been on campus yet has ended up signing with Syracuse so far here in the spring, Jarrett Valencia, the Monmouth guy, the 6'9", rangy power forward type. He was on campus earlier this week. He had previously visited Wichita State, and he's opting to return to Kansas. So he will head to Wichita State for his next destination. But now, here on this very Friday, this Portal Watch Friday, as we focus mainly on football now, as the football portal closes for entrance in less than 10 hours. Well, we learned, I guess it would have been 3 days ago. I learned it today, but they would have learned it 3 days ago, that a new name has entered the portal and beat the deadline to get in to the basketball portal, and his name is Rashawn Agee from USC. He is another forward type, 6'7", 6'8", started his career at New Mexico State, played just a game there, 2 years at Bowling Green in the MAC, had a really nice season there a year ago, going nearly a double-double at 13 points and 9.9 rebounds a game. This past year at Southern Cal, started about a third of their games, 10 starts this year, played 20 minutes a game, 9 points a game, rebounding just a little bit less than 5, and really for the first time of his career, added the three-pointer into his repertoire. Never really shot it at all to start his college career, but 2 attempts a game, made nearly an attempt a game, shot 39% from 3, and I would call that slightly more than minimal attempts. Slightly more. You're taking 2 a game. That's not nothing. So a guy to watch, and why is he a guy to watch? We use the Instagram test. Is Syracuse general manager Alex Klein following Rashawn Agee on Instagram? Check. And then the important test. Is Rashawn Agee following back? Also check. Communication has been made. So it seems clear that they're still in the market for yet another 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" guy. I wouldn't mind a 6'11", 6'12" guy. One of them 6'12ers. Yeah. Wouldn't mind that. One of them big guys just to round the whole thing out. But Red continues to try to fill the roster in the idea that he's made. So we talk about, are they done yet? And I say, you look at what they have. We've gone through the minutes, what could be a potential rotation. You have enough guys if all the guys you have are going to be legitimate contributors next year. And that remains to be the biggest question, and one that clearly we're not going to be able to answer until November at the earliest. But here's another guy. Contact has been made. How much money is left available? NIL? No idea. What would a guy like this command on the market? No idea. Can those two things line up if Syracuse can add one more to a guy that, wouldn't be a starter, would be probably playing a similar-ish role to what he just had at USC. So something to keep an eye on. But a new name added to the mix on the basketball portal side of things, and that is Rashawn Agee to keep an eye on here going forward. Looks like we got a call coming in, so we'll hang on here before we get to the break as we have eyes on the NFL draft. Will we see a Cuse guy tonight in the draft? Gut says no, not tonight. I think early tomorrow is when a lot of the Cuse guys are going to go. It's possible all of them go in the fourth round tomorrow. It could be a very Cusey fourth round of the draft. McCord, obviously, will be the most interesting one to keep an eye on because of quarterbacks. And I still got eyes on the Rams. We're going to get into the Giants draft here in a second. The Giants jumped one pick ahead of the Rams in the draft yesterday because the word on the street was the Rams had eyes for Jackson Dart, and the Giants jumped up and got Dart. I just think, man, McCord, and I don't know if the Rams like him at all, but McCord to the Rams backing up Stafford, I think that would be a dream landing spot for a guy like him as far as projecting his career forward and having the best chance for a long, successful career. I think that would be a fantastic spot if he could land there third, fourth round here going forward. All right, we'll take a break. More NFL draft talk. What did the Giants do last night? What's going to happen with Shedeur Sanders? Perhaps as early as the first pick on the clock tonight with the Browns to start the second round, and the Bills get themselves a D-back late in the first round last night. All that and more when we come back after this, and your calls, 315-437-7644. Back after this on a Friday. It's Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
Come see why.
Yeah, they are quieter, right, Kim? I've been looking at battery lawnmowers for that reason. Not that I actually need a new lawnmower, but I keep looking at them. Anyone got a battery lawnmower out there? What brand do you got? Like, I'm all good with my Honda gas mower. Like, it turns on and it cuts grass, and there's not much more you want than that. But I mean, the reciprocal follow, Alex. Yeah, I don't know if I'm actually going to buy one, Kev. I've been looking at, like, Greenworks, and there's some other brand that I just forgot the name of. Ego. Yes, I've been looking at Ego. But I also don't really want to spend the money on it because I have a perfectly fine working lawnmower. But I'll keep looking at them. It's more the noise. I'd like to eliminate the noise. But also, just last Friday, I just once again put some gas in, ripped the Honda, and mowed the lawn. And everything was fine. As it's been every time I've mowed the lawn with that for the last 7 years. Big yard? No, not huge. I mean, I do it in like an hour-ish. Yeah, if the Ryobi reviews are not quite as good. Oh, you giving anything away? Like, did he have any thought of what he wanted us to be giving away? Yeah, if you can guess what our giveaway is, we're going to put you live on the air.
Come on, man, you're on the air. Let's go.
No, we should. Putting him live on the air and making him guess would have been hilarious. Keep my dignity, Bill Call. Like, I got Ryobi from my regular tools, but no matter what, with the mower, you're going to have to get a different kind of battery, so it doesn't even matter. No, I'm only I'm only looking at ones, like, because the Honda, it's got, like, the dual blade, which you need the dual blade for a good cut. If you're not having two blades, what's the point? I'm sure it is tronic, but I am an unskilled tradesman. And then once you start buying one with a battery thing for your hand tools, whatever, you got to stick with the same brand because you got all the batteries. I've never had a problem with my Ryobi tools, though. You just got it's once you get in on the battery tools, you got to stick with the same brand. Yeah, I like the Honda. It's just I've been looking at other stuff. Like the Honda still turns on, and just mows, and it's good. But I like to browse.
Here's Brian Higgins.
In the middle of the night.
Rolling along Friday weekend. 315-437-7644 if you'd like to join in the National Football League draft. We'll begin drafting again at 7 o'clock tonight. 7 o'clock tonight? I think it's 7 o'clock tonight. Yeah. Anyway, the Giants last night, as expected, were the most interesting team of the round. The Jaguars made a late bid. The trade up there to go get Mr. Two-Way Man and Travis Hunter was an intriguing start to the draft, and things went kind of to spec for a while. Giants getting Abdul Carter at 3, and then we got up to the inflection point of the round. Like, would anybody jump ahead of the Steelers to try to get a quarterback? Would the Steelers take a quarterback? And would any of that involve Shedeur Sanders? And the answer summarily to all that was no, 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 and no. So it's going on. The Giants trade back in. They get ahead of the Rams, and now all of the rumblings and the rumors are tied to Jackson Dart. They show Shedeur on the draft. They show Dart on the draft. Dart had clearly just hung up his phone with the Giants and had a bleep-eating grin on his face. I'm like, I think they just told Jackson Dart they're taking him. And Brian Daboll is the one that is tied to Dart. Now, I don't know. There's a lot of red flags about Dart in that it's Lane Kiffin's system. Lane makes quarterbacks look real good now. He spreads it out. They got everything. And now Mel Kiper was in love with Shedeur Sanders last night, so I didn't really learn a lot about Jackson Dart when the pick was made because they were just talking about Shedeur. But the things they mentioned, you look at Dart's stats and record in the big games, the biggest games he played, yeah, didn't go great. Didn't go great. So that has me a little worried. Lou Riddick didn't seem totally sold on the whole situation, so that has me a little worried. Other draft analysts are like, yeah, we like Dart. I don't know. Like, obviously, if it doesn't work out, then the people that made that decision aren't going to have a job for very long. Joe Shane and Dable have already come out and said that Russ Wilson's still the starter, and I would expect that to be the case for at least a chunk of the season. Then we'll see how it goes, and if the season falls apart like the last few have, then it won't even matter how it goes for those guys. But can Dart be the guy? Well, the way I look at it, you got 2 years to figure it out. And then if it's clear he's not the guy, like, move heaven and earth and go just get anyone with the last name of Manning. Go get Arch. Like, sell everybody. Go get Manning in a couple of years. Hopefully Dart's the guy. I have no idea. They're red flags are the wrong term, but there's just a lot of things like. And I'm not saying Kyle McCord would have been the guy, but what I saw from Kyle McCord last year, like, especially, like, you look at the Miami game, big games, big drives, stepped up, played well. Jackson Dart apparently did the opposite. Worrisome. Now he's got the frame. He can gun it. Looks the part. His brother, I don't think they're twins, are they? But, man, his brother looks just like him. Are they twins? They could be twins if they're not twins. But the one thing I'm hanging my hat on, and this is all that I got, this is all we got as Giants fans. People are like, oh, you must be happy. Like, well, Dart Milroe, Shuck, Shadur. It's like, whatever. I don't know if I was going to be happy with any of them just because none of them are ones to get all that excited about yet. None of them have done anything. It's not like last year with Daniels and Drake May and, the top three of the draft. They were players to get excited about, whether it works or not at the time to get excited about. Any of the group the Giants were looking at this year is like, okay, you go into any of it with significant reservations. This is all I'm hanging my hat on. And this is convoluted, but this is all I got. So the Giants offseason hard knocks from last year. The one scene where they're talking about quarterbacks and Joe Shane's son is telling Dad, go get Jaden Daniels. Brian Daboll was like, I loved Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels was Rookie of the Year. All right. The only thing that tells me is that the one quarterback he was excited about last year turned out to be the guy. And then in Buffalo, he worked with the guy in Josh Allen. I don't know if he has completely the warm and fuzzies like that about Jackson Dart, but he looked at the guys that were available to the Giants in this draft and declared him to be the guy out of that group. At least they went and got the guy they thought was the guy they could get this year. That's a lot of ifs and buts and whatever, but that's all I got. That's all I got about the Giants. I like the first pick. You went and got Abdul Carter. Dude's a stud. Rushes the quarterback. You can't have too many of those guys. You can't in the NFL these days. You can't have too many guys like that. Hopefully he'll turn into a Micah Parsons-like defensive game wrecker. Hopefully. We'll see. Giants go draft some offensive and defensive linemen and maybe a cornerback that's aware of what's going on and figure that out. The Bills, they want to get quarterback Maxwell Hairston. Ran like a 4.2 something. That's fast. Okay. Seems good. Snazzy dresser. Like that. And then there's the Shadur Sanders case. There's always got to be a storyline. That was clearly going to be the storyline. Unfortunately for Shadur, the best storyline that could play out was him falling out of the first round because now he's still a storyline all day long today. You got to figure the Browns are taking him with the top pick here of the second round. If the Browns don't take him here, or even better yet, if the Browns take a different quarterback here that's not him, then just like things start getting real crazy and real fun. So we'll see how that all goes. The amount of times they cut to Shador's little draft cam last night when it was like either frozen or he was standing right in front of it with his back to the camera, there was just an elite amount of times that happened. Just an absolute elite amount of times that happened. That was something else last night. Absolutely something else. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Jackson Dart. Hopefully something good. The main problem is, as a Giants fan right now, after the last decade, you can't tell me you have faith in anything to go right. It could be the best draft pick of all time. Who knows? Maybe they drafted a Hall of Famer and that guy's going to start 15 years in New York. I hope it's the case. The last time they drafted a quarterback from Ole Miss, guess what happened? All those things. Shout out to Eli. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Round 2 and 3 of the NFL draft tonight. Will any of the Orange players, I still think 4 Syracuse guys, get drafted? My lean is none of them get picked tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if all of them come off the board in the 4th round. I bet Arande and McCord and Fadil don't make it out of the 4th. We'll see. And LeQuint's maybe the 5th. But hopefully they all land. At that point, when you're a 4th, 5th, whatever round draft pick, at that point it's not about I want to go the highest. It's about, do you find a place that's a great fit for you? So that's the hope for all those guys. Again, if you missed Stephen Pauly with Arande Gadsden earlier, be sure to check that out on the Q Sports Talk YouTube page. We'll see if Arande becomes the highest drafted Syracuse player this year. Could any of them sneak into the round tonight? Arande, I'd say Arande, he always shoots you straight. Arande's basically said earlier today, this is paraphrasing, he's like, I hope I go tonight, but he basically seemed to say he was expecting to go tomorrow, and he seemed cool that he's ready to go and work and get in there and do the whole thing, and who would know better about all this than a guy whose dad played a decade in the NFL. All right, we'll take a break, a little 4-on-1. We'll do that next year. And we come back on a Friday. It's Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
The 315 with Brian Higgins.
We all know how tough the schedule
the
is.
super
In theory, how
old
tough the schedule is
Giants.
this year. The odds of winning 10 games this year are, yeah, I think you win 7 and have a spectacular year based on the schedule. And,
There were too many people online yesterday comparing Jackson Dart to Daniel Jones for my liking. That
everyone
was.
loves Fran now, but we all
I
know
do
how
have
it is.
commercials
Lose
playing.
a few-
Mike has to go potty. Now everyone's up to date. Yeah, Poppy, I got that Infante radio money. I'm going to have 6 lawnmowers by the end of the day. Realistically, I'll probably just not buy a lawnmower because I don't actually need one. Nor do I actually really need a snowblower. But if I were to buy a lawnmower, I'd probably also want to get the same brand of snowblower because of, mutual battery sharing. Also, when it comes to the battery lawnmower, I'm a little suspicious of the battery lawnmowers that don't have the metal deck. Like, you read too many weird reviews of, like, a rock shooting through, like, the composite decks or something. The ones with the metal deck, and then, of course, the ones with the metal deck are always, like, the higher level lawnmowers. Wins would be nice, Boss Sandwich. I would like some wins. Like, I'm not demanding the playoffs this year. Just don't be a complete and utter embarrassment again. Can the games be watchable? That'd be great if the games are watchable. Hey, look, Mike's back. He's just gone and peed, and now he's done with that.
I have, and I am.
Yeah. Yeah, the egos rate highly, Kev. The Greenworks, some of them rate highly.
What are you talking about?
Electric lawnmowers. Toro's got some good ones.
El Toro.
Yes.
Is it a bull?
Sure.
I feel like every time something's named Toro, there's always a bull for a logo.
I mean, they all their stuff is red. So. Yeah, it went out a while ago, Oregon Q's. That's a Factronic. Unless you tell me that you're 8-8, but Jackson Dart took over midseason and gave me hope as the year went along. Or if they're 8-8, but preparing to tank the next year to go get Arch Manning in 2027. Mm-hmm. Mike has sneezed. Bless you. It's a 3-bagger.
Oh, that one hurt.
Hurt?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, we're good.
4?
Thought maybe.
Remember that day you dropped like 5 or 6?
Yeah.
That was wild. It just kept coming.
When I was sick this week, I hit an 8er.
An 8-pack?
And in my memory, the most I've ever
Sneeze
done.
Right? 8's, yeah, that's an insane amount of sneezes.
It would hurt.
Did it wear you out?
Yeah, because by 6 I was already out of breath like normally, but then like being sick, like 7 and 8 was like.
By 6 I was out of breath like normally.
Yeah.
6 isn't normal. That's so many sneezes.
No. I mean being out of breath by 6 is normal.
I suppose so.
You know
I don't know if I know.
But like, and then
I can assume that.
It got to the point where like 7 and 8, I was like.
San Diego Q says he always sneezes in 7s.
Wow, that's crazy.
Is that lucky? Lucky 7s?
My entire life I was a big 3 guy, but I'd say the last like year or so I hit 4 pretty often a year.
I had a kid I went to like junior high and high school with who always sneezed in 3s and like loudly, so you had to like pause class for a second. But then one day he only had 2, and like the teacher's like,
that's funny.
And we all just looked at each other for a while.
Write it down.
Yeah. He never got the third one, and it was the weirdest thing.
My grandpa was always a loud sneezer. Like, he would be like, "Achoo!" It's like, all right, Gramps, you're selling it.
It's like, you had a little sneeze there.
We get it. You're old.
We get it. You're old.
No, my grandpa had those stereotypical, like the big, the black square glasses that like connect to like go all the way back. Yeah, he rocked them.
Well, he needed a stout spectacle to stay on when he was sneezing.
It was quite the spectacle. He was a big Prius guy too. But like every 3 years, he'd upgrade and get another Prius.
Mm.
Like it was a new Mustang.
That kind of defeats the purpose of the saving the environment.
True.
CNY. It's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
It's me.
Or is Mike the problem?
Who sings that song?
Taylor Swift.
Okay, I thought so. I thought so. 'Cause I wanted to
The
say
most
hi.
famous person on the planet.
I wanted to say hi, Taylor, but then I was like, I don't know. I think it's her, but I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. Who else could it have been?
I guess a plethora of people. I don't know.
suppose so.
I mean, potentially anybody, I guess.
I suppose so. It could be. It could have been you.
But also nobody else because it's Taylor Swift.
Yeah, it's Taylor Swift. It is 100% Taylor Swift. Is certainly the case that was Taylor Swift. And this is the 411.
Here's the 411.
Hello, and welcome to Movie Phone.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
In the 315.
So you're going to be doing that all week, right?
Nah.
Now, what's going on is this is the 411 brought to you by Superior Plus Propane. And that's Mike.
This is Mike.
And that's as far as we've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got?
Well, I kind of wanted to talk to you about Ashton Genty going 6th.
Okay.
And not really quite as much Ashton Genty going 6th, but I had this conversation with a few of my friends last night during the draft, and we were talking, is first round a good round for running backs? They've kind of been coming back the last couple of years, getting more and more. And I guess that's just my question to you. I guess personally, I feel in today's NFL, you can get away with having an average running back. Any team can do it. But I do think there are those guys who are still generational and kind of warrant going in a top 10, top 15 type of situation. What's your opinion with the running backs?
I mean, we just saw what Saquon did for the Eagles last year for sure. What's crazy here is, and this is why you look at what running backs get paid and, the just churn them through, careers don't last that long, blah, 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 blah. Ashton Genty, based on what the number 6 pick in the draft automatically gets based on the collective bargaining agreement, is going to have the second highest guaranteed money for any running back in the league behind Saquon.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild. When the Raiders didn't want to pay Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, the Raiders let Josh Jacobs go. That said, now obviously a new coach now and a new regime there. Go back to when things worked for Pete Carroll the most in Seattle.
Yeah.
Beast mode, Marshawn Lynch. I get Genty's a very different kind of running back, I think, than Marshawn was, but he was unbelievable. He could have won the Heisman. I mean, it was him and Travis Hunter, and in many ways, Genty had a more spectacular season, except he only played the one side of the ball, so he lost spectacular on that side of it. But he was unbelievable this season for Boise. If he can be anything resembling that in the league, the one thing about the running back position is you can argue about what the money is. Are you getting value? If you hit on one of those guys as a rookie, they produce immediately.
Yeah.
Like if it works from day one. I mean, look at some of the recent what's his name in Detroit, who I've now blanking his name.
Gibbs?
Gibbs, yeah. Like
Come on, Gibbs.
Great from day one. Great from day one. They traded up, they got him at 12 or whatever it was a couple of years ago. And look, they've won a lot of games. Like if you can, the thing where the Raiders are, they have a lot of needs. I don't know if it's going to win them games immediately, and that's the question.
Yeah, I think the running back position is debatably, if not the most transferable from college to the NFL, because if the holes are there, you run through them. I mean, you know where you're supposed to run to every single play. You know how to engage in it. The defense isn't confusing you. The defense is confusing your line. So if your line can hold up and hit the blocks, you just run right through the hole.
Yeah.
And Genty, he's a workhorse. Obviously, he is a healthy workhorse. He can just run the ball for as many times as you want. I mean, I think he will transition through. And you brought up a great point with Pete Carroll and beast mode. I mean, they can handle this offense the exact same as he did in Seattle. Just run the ball as much as you want and then pass out of it. And, we haven't really seen Genty need to be a receiving back entirely yet, but I think he shows some potential. I think he's got good size, great speed for it. I think he could be a nice little dual threat.
Yeah, I don't think they threw him the ball a lot there, but there's nothing in his game that makes me like, well, you can't. That won't work. I'd say the main thing I see here, like what running backs early in recent drafts, the ones that make sense to me and have worked are teams that know what their quarterback situation is. Like, Detroit did it. They know it's Goff. The Raiders just did it, like him or not, but they know what the deal is. They traded for Geno Smith and signed him to an extension. They know what the deal is. Why did it not work in other places or may not work in other places? The Giants did it with Saquon. They didn't have a quarterback. The Falcons did it with Bijan Robinson, and they're just, they're musical chairs in the quarterback. Maybe he's been fine, but it's not pushing them over the top because they didn't have a quarterback. The Raiders, they got a quarterback. They got a running back. Okay, the order of operations anyway makes sense to me.
Yeah, and you're completely different identity scouting-wise. If I'm coming up against a team like when the Giants had Saquon, they're going to just run.
They didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah, and so with situations like the Raiders, if Geno can even play, and this can make Geno's life a little bit easier too, because now you don't quite know where they want to go. Because although Geno is a great player and he's shown that the last couple of years, he's not elite. So it makes his job easier. You got to plan from the run game. There's going to be more people in the box than there would have been. And Josh Jacobs, he was a really good receiving back, in my opinion. Although he was more of a workhorse himself, but I think he was a great receiver. So it's a new offense at the end of the day, no matter what. But the other players on the roster, it might not be too big of a change for them. This might be a pretty smooth transition from one coach to another, and then you bring in a Genti and bring in a Geno.
Yeah, I said the main thing I look at the Raiders, like since the Gruden thing blew up in their face with the emails and the whole thing, they have been a team without a direction or a plan. Yeah. Pete Carroll, I get he's older and whatever, he gives you a very specific plan. And for a team that has been seemingly just wandering for the last few years, having a specific plan is not the worst thing for them right now.
Yeah, and that's why I'm excited for players like Max Crosby, the guys who have stayed loyal. It seems like the leaders of this team has wanted a direction this entire time. They wanted their interim. He didn't get to stick. Okay, what do we want now? Well, now you have it with somebody like Pete Carroll. The experience, it'll be very interesting to see how it goes for them. I think I want to start doing this a short segment on the 411 where it's the comment of the day.
Okay.
Because as you know,
you have a comment?
Yeah, no.
Is it someone else's comments or your comments?
Not mine. Not mine. But let's listen. Social media has become if this video is funny, I'm going to immediately open the comments to see what everybody else says. Let's be honest. That's what it is.
Okay.
So I saw this post about, it was just talking about Cam Ward, and then I open up the comment section and the very top comment goes, I just saw Will Levis drop to his knees in the mayonnaise aisle at Walmart. And it was just the funniest thing ever.
The man loves mayonnaise.
He does love his mayonnaise. Poor guy. Anyway, we're going to go over to the NBA real quick before we get out of here today. As you guys know, I'm a big NBA guy, and we are in the heart of the first round of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And to start the action off today...
I still haven't gotten a series wrong yet.
You have not. You're still batting 1,000.
Yeah, none of them have ended yet, but I'm still perfect.
Exactly. And honestly, based on how it's going, you got a really good chance of moving through the first round still batting 1,000.
I'm worried about the Warriors series with Butler hurt, but besides that I think I'm in good shape.
That's fair. I forgot about that. I'm trying to get that out of my mind. Yes. But Butler is still highly doubtful for Game 3, so we'll see how she goes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Celtics starting the action off against the Magic. Celtics, they won without Tatum. This should be a clean sweep, in my opinion. I think they kind of proved that it's going to be an easy way the rest of the series.
Yeah, they're way better.
And the spread is actually only 3.5. Boston's only got a 3.5 game spread, but I guess it is the first game in Orlando. So
the man that sort of knows rides with the Celtics tonight.
And I think that's a great idea.
Number.
8 o'clock. Oh, yeah, that game's going to be on ESPN. ESPNU and NBA TV at 8 o'clock. Pacers and the Bucks. Although Indiana leads 2-0, it's still the Bucks. You never know. Giannis might be able to drop a 60-pointer tonight.
He's going to have to. He's averaging 35 and 15, and they didn't come close to winning a game.
No. Yeah, that's the Bucks just aren't what they were supposed to be, man.
No.
And you know what it all started with? People are going to say Dame, but no. It started with Doc Rivers, all right? I'm telling you. Doc Rivers, he's the reason that team fell apart.
I like blaming Doc Rivers for stuff.
I love blaming.
It's kind of fun.
Did you see he got voted the third worst coach in the NBA by the players this year?
Wow.
Great.
It's not ideal.
Love seeing it. All right, 9:30. No offense. But yeah, I love seeing it. ESPN 9:30. Lakers taking on the Timberwolves. This series is probably, I would say, top 2 in the first round. Most interesting watch for me. It's 1-1, and the Timberwolves are, even though they lost one, they're playing better than I actually expected. I think Julius Randle has actually been a fantastic move, getting away from Cat and bringing in Julius Randle, allowing the team to actually find an identity. I think their biggest issue last year was who is the leader of this team. Is it Cat, who's been the leader, or is it Anthony Edwards, who is not only a natural-born leader, but by far the best player on this team? Now you have your identity. Seems like Julius Randle is completely content being a 2. He has the potential where sometimes he can be a 1, which is a great thing from a 2. If you can be a solid 2 all the time and all of a sudden pop off every once in a while, that's what you like to see. They've been pretty fun to watch. Anthony Edwards, I think, leading the league in 3-pointers this year.
He did lead the league in 3-pointers this year.
So that's been exciting. The whole Timberwolves team's really good shooters. They've got some solid shooters. They got great defenders. Kenneth Reed is a lot of not Kenneth Reed. That was
Naz Reid.
Naz Reid, thank you.
Yeah.
He's been great to watch. I love a good 2-way player. Nah, that's all I got on those 2.
Yeah. I saw a bit on Instagram today. There was a cartoon of Ant like showing up at an old folks home where it was LeBron and KD hanging out together and like
that's
making fun of him. And then they, I think KD called Ant Mosquito because he forgot what bug he was.
Oh,
that
man.
amused me.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. It's like, mosquito? LeBron's like, huh?
That's funny. I love Anthony Edwards. He's a lot of fun. I think I've really, really grown to appreciate him, and I really was not a fan when he first got into the league because I thought he was super arrogant, and I don't think he's arrogant at all. I think he's just incredibly confident in himself because he'll talk about how good he is and how much better than everybody thinks he is, but then if you ask him about another player, it's nothing but respect. Yeah. Love the guy. He's great. Love playing against him. True competitor. I love it.
I think he is arrogant, but he's also correct.
That's true. That's true. That's a fine line.
We got a little sort of football breaking news. I don't know if this quite raises to breaking news, but Enrique Cruz, former Orange starting left tackle a couple of years ago, is now a Kansas Jayhawk. So there we are. Little portal watch for you. Enrique Cruz going to Kansas.
I used to live there.
You did used to live there?
Yeah.
Did you ever see Enrique Cruz there?
No.
Probably not.
I actually never saw the Kansas University campus. It was like 2 hours away from Wichita.
Okay. He's got the hype video. That's how you know it's good. This will be Paulie approved because it is a hype video. We know Paulie loves hype videos. So, man, there we go.
I feel like if you don't love hype videos, you got a problem.
Everyone looks great in a hype video.
Exactly.
I mean, Enrique's got the Kansas jersey on. He's popped the helmet. He's giving the camera a stare. They've got some high shots of the stadium.
Did you see the video of Travis Hunter putting on his helmet, trying it on for the first time?
No.
Yeah, it came out probably like half an hour, 40 minutes ago, maybe.
I was busy.
But yeah, you were.
Yeah.
I guess why did I ask that?
I don't know. I was kind of occupied.
Thanks.
Bit tied up.
But yeah, it was like low-key adorable because the guy hasn't stopped smiling since the draft.
He is a big smiler.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's like one of the nicest humans on earth.
Yeah,
everyone loves Travis Hunter.
He put on the helmet and he's like cheesing hard like it's like the Hogwarts, like, what is that? The Hogwarts hat telling him what house he's in. Like, he was just cheesing, looking left and right. Like, oh, it's so adorable.
Is he just walking around yelling Duval now? So has he gotten in on that?
Bro, I haven't seen it yet, but I probably not.
Is it? It's got to be less creepy than when Liam Cohen tried that on when he got
and it's like, what?
Yeah. They got like a 30-year-old GM was wearing hoodies everywhere. There's a lot going on down in Duval County in Jacksonville.
The hoodie blazer combo is just a thing, I guess, in this year's draft. Yeah. Everybody's doing it. You had Shefty doing it. The GM for the Jags was doing it.
There's a big difference. Shefty was doing it because he was cold.
Yeah, that's true. That was
the other guy was in Jacksonville, Florida.
But here's the thing. Here's why I'm okay with it. Because I think a classy hoodie with the right blazer or specifically a peacoat looks great too.
Okay.
Is a good combination. But you can't have your tie showing underneath it. That just looks like
that's right. Schefter was cold.
Yeah, I know. But you got to make an executive decision. Take off the tie.
He needed to ditch the tie at that point. He needed to ditch the tie. Today he's more prepared for the cold. He's got a sweater situation.
It's crazy because it feels like some of them over prepared too. Because some of them are wearing like full on jackets. And they're just regretting that decision.
Yeah, it's mid-40s, and they're outside for hours on end in Green Bay, Wisconsin, the frozen tundra, even here in April. All right, we'll hit a break. What's on tap is next. Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio. It is in style, Jackie. It is in style.
But yeah, you can't have the tie and button up because then you just look like a 15-year-old kid waiting for his like basketball game in the middle of the winter, and all you got is your hoodie. You know what I mean?
I need to look up the weather in Jacksonville. That's what I need to do right now.
I would say, what's the date? I'm gonna go off
April 25th.
I'm gonna say it's 78.
Jacksonville, Florida. All right, it's 80 degrees in Jacksonville today.
I was so close.
So let's assume it was similar yesterday.
Yeah.
That's my problem with the hoodie blazer combo. You're in Jacksonville.
Yeah, that you're making a choice.
Yeah, like you're doing it because you're trying to do a fashion thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm not against the idea of the hoodie blazer combo, but you also need to combine in the right.
You want to know what I'm more upset with? Actually, is if you're not at the draft, why are you dressing up at all?
To be professional. Like the whole Giants room.
I'm wearing a tracksuit. I'm sorry. If I'm not at the draft and I'm in the office, I am wearing a tracksuit. And if I'm in a position of power, I'm gonna pick on you if you were dressing up. I'm like, come on, dude.
Well, I mean, everyone is dressing based off the people in the position of power.
That's fair.
So if you're in a position of power, that means you're going to be a tracksuit organization.
That's true. Beanbags, maybe some ping pong
the
tables.
Giants were all suited up last night because that's what they were doing. Remember the Rams a few years ago, and they have no picks, and they rented out that mansion. Les Snead was wearing the F them pick shirt. Well, the Jacksonville dude with the hoodie was like their assistant GM at the time, so that's where he learned his trade.
Oh,
right. So that's what we know.
Literally learned his trade.
Yeah, quite.
Because they do that.
Yeah.
They trade.
Well, yes, the trade. Somebody asked, what did I just blank on the Rams coach name?
What do you want on the pod? McVay?
Yeah, 156.
Okay.
Somebody asked oh, you got 2 picks in next year's draft because they made that trade. He's like, for now.
That's good.
Like, Yeah, I did see that one, San Diego.
156 already.
Jeremiah Wilson to Florida State.
Hey, Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
I heard he was a good friend of mine. Not anymore, though. He hit the portal. No, Paulie does not actually like the hype videos, Kev. I do agree with Paulie on the not everybody deserves a hype video, because then you don't know what to believe. I think there needs to be a hype video hierarchy. Like, all right, you're just a guy, 5-second hype video. Like, you're a dude, all right, you get like 2 minutes. Then I'll know who I'm supposed to care about based on hype video length. T-Takes is headed to Jacksonville, the newest Jaguars fan. T-Takes. Yeah, San Diego Cuse, I agree. Though, I guess, I don't know. Unless they're thinking they're going to be able to keep a few as walk-ons when this... Because they're talking about grandfathering in the roster sizes or something. Pete Thamel looks very cold. He has a winter hat and a scarf.
All across CNY, it's the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
All right, rolling along as we get toward the end of things for the week.
Here's what's on tap tonight.
Oh, what do we got? What don't we have on tap tonight? Yankees, Blue Jays, 7 o'clock this evening from north of the border. Yankees on deck with Tim Leonard will be starting next. Following that, a 6:50 countdown to crunch time for Game 1 of the Calder Cup playoffs. The Crunch and the Amerks drop the puck in a little bit more than an hour from Rochester, and it's these first-round playoff series just spread out all over hell and gone. It's a best-of-5 series where the Game 5 would be 2 weeks from tonight if the series extends that far. On tap tomorrow, Lacrosse, Carolina in the Dome, 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. That means pregame with Tim and Kyle over on TK99 gets going at 4:30 for an extremely important game for Syracuse with a lot of playoff implications on the line tomorrow. NFL draft continues this weekend. We'll see what the Giants and the Bills and the Syracuse guys, where they all do, or they all end up, and we'll certainly talk about that, the portal, and much, much more when we reconvene here on Monday. All right, everybody, have a great weekend out there. We'll talk again Monday, 4 o'clock, right here on Q Sports Talk and ESPN Radio.
The Sports Show with Cody Mack.